Welcome to the Marketing for Business podcast. This is your host, Scott Wilson. Kane Lawson, hey, welcome to the Marketing for Business podcast.
Great, thanks for having me here, Scott.
Mate, I'm excited to talk to you today because you are a wealth of knowledge. You're probably one of the, as far as a young entrepreneur, you look very young for a start, but you've done so much in a period of time. I think, when did you first start working?
When I was 10.
Yeah. Tell us that story, because I think it's gold to start off with.
I guess my story does start from then. I was no good at school. I was no good at, in those days, school holiday programs, which is what your parents used to send you on in the holidays because they upset to go to work. Neither school nor school holiday programs gelled with me. So short of having to stay at home with a babysitter, which was not favourable back then financially, probably for my parents, I got a job. Nice. So I loved cars. Cars have been my passion since I was a young boy. So I got a job working at the local petrol station.
That's outstanding. At 10?
10, yeah.
And obviously back then, no restrictions, like no one really...
Nah.
Did you have to lie about your age, or you just...
I just went down there and just said I needed a job, and I just started, literally just cleaning shelves and doing bits and bobs, and then you just sort of start doing more and more and more. And then that really just continued on, and that job is clearly what paved my path to where it is today. There's no doubt about that at all. Did someone guide you? Was it the learnings, or did you just have a strong work ethic and you just knew that was going to get you through? Yeah, well, a strong work ethic comes from my father because he's very much like that. Yeah. So I always had strong work ethic, and I was always taught that you had to work. We always had to work around home when we were kids, and so on and so forth. So that was just never not an option. Yeah. So when I went and started working at the petrol station, which was, it might have had 8 staff, and it was locally owned by a gentleman, I just didn't used to stop. I just used to go all day, and I just thought it was great because my other option was to go to a school holiday program, which I just couldn't think of anything worse. So for me to go there and work all day, cleaning shelves or sweeping or doing whatever, which was just absolutely horrible jobs to other people there, to me was just the best thing since sliced bread.
Do you remember what you got paid?
Yeah, I think I used to get, I do. I used to get, for the first year or two, I used to get $20 for a week. Yeah.
You would have felt super rich though, eh?
Yeah, that was awesome. I was great for that. I used to bust down to the Kmart at the Palms, which is a shopping mall nearby to where I lived, and buy some toy cars, and that was good. I was happy with that.
That's awesome.
So it wasn't about the money, that's for sure. And then that led on because I was, working hard, and I was keen to learn and do other things. Back in those days, at petrol stations, they were service stations. So if you had a puncture on your car, they would fix the puncture on your car tyre, and they'd sell the odd car tyre and just basic things like that. So this garage had a very, very agricultural tyre changing machine and a wheel balancer. And I started learning how to use that, and then, which came from me cleaning in there. I used to have to clean the machine, so I used to have to push the buttons and turn it to be able to clean it. So I knew the very, very basics of changing a tyre at a very, very low level. And that was in an era when, that's sort of the mid-90s, when service stations went away from being service stations and the big conglomerates, it was a Shell service station. They were opening up what was called a Circle K, which was their effectively what's just not what we know now, but a supermarket back then, which you could buy more things from, and therefore the smaller satellite service stations just got eaten up and shut down, and Shell or Mobil or whomever it may be, they dictated the fuel prices that the smaller petrol stations brought at, so they basically just drove you out of town. So the way in which that affected me, once I was 13, I just started high school, is that petrol station got shut down. So therefore I had no more job.
Redundant.
I was made redundant. I was gone. So that was a drama for me because I enjoyed going there. I really, really did enjoy it. So I needed to find another job. So I didn't really want to work in the petrol station thing anymore. So I knew how to change tyres, and I liked cars. So I just got into the phone book and rang all the tyre shops I could. I just started in there and just rang them all and just asked if
Yellow Pages, pick them up.
Yellow Pages, literally. Picked the Yellow Pages up, went to tyres, and I just started ringing them.
Wow.
And
was there any fear there? Like were you just a young kid and didn't just...
No, just there wasn't, because I don't know why there wasn't.
Yeah.
But I just felt like there was no need to be any fear, because in anything you do, if you've done enough homework or enough research and you're confident in your ability and yourself, there is no fear. Yeah. And there shouldn't be. Yeah. And if there is, then you probably shouldn't be doing it.
It's a great takeaway.
You know, so I rang up these places and I just got flogged off, and you know, I was just a 13-year-old boy that sounded like a girl probably, ringing up for a job, and that was that. So I just kept ringing through them, and anyway, I got to M. I got as far as the letter M, so I got a wee way through, and I got to Mag Turbo. And I rung up, and it's just, things happen for a reason, and I do believe they do. The man that owned the company and ran the company, he answered the phone, and I said, yeah, I'm looking, I can't remember what I said, but I'm looking for some after-school work, would have been what I would have said. And he said, yep, what hours can you do? I said, I can work on a Wednesday from 3 till 6, because back then high school's finished at 2:30 for school sports. I wasn't remotely interested in school or sports or anyone at school, so I knew that I could get from school to there by 3. Yeah. And like I said, I can work all day, I can work all weekend. He said, great, we'll see you at 3 o'clock next Wednesday. Fine. Full stop. Didn't even ask my name or anything. So I was like, that, to me, I was like, right, I got a job. I went down there 3 o'clock the next Wednesday, and that's where I started. And
so that's your journey into Mag Turbo.
That's my journey to Mag Turbo.
And how old were you then?
I was 14.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
at the outside.
So you're
late 13-year-old.
You arrive at Mag Turbo, late 13, 14, and like how long did you stay at Mag Turbo?
Till I was 32.
Yeah, and the fascinating part, you went from a young kid to owning part of it, right? Yeah. Tell us about that journey and what were some of the key lessons that you learned. I'm really interested in some of those key lessons.
The key lessons. So so that's terrible. So going back to the start. So I started there, and I just started sweeping the floors, and you know, what I knew about anything to do with tyres was nothing compared to what these guys knew. You know, so I just started at the bottom again, cleaning the smoker room and da-da-da-da-da. And again, just that work ethic of just wanting to, like, if they said to me, move that pile of tyres from there to there and then move it back, I wouldn't say, well, what's the point in that? I'd be like, okay, cool, I'd just do it. Yeah. You know, so you sort of, when you have that work ethic, in whatever role you're in, you stand out to people that make decisions in businesses.
Totally right.
That's how it works. So I just got more opportunities. I was able to then, you know, do things, clean the wheels on cars, which may seem very simple. It's simple, and it is simple. Yeah. But guys rush it and don't do it properly, and so I led through that. So I worked in the fitting, the tyre fitting bay, which is where you would start, or in that type of business, and I just worked there part time. As I said, I always worked full time on the holidays, and when I turned 15, which was when I was third form, so I turned 15 in March. So I'd been at school I did first form, second form, and third form on the 24th of March, which is my birthday. I remember clearly the dean or whoever it is came. I got called to their room, and they said, right, you know, you don't want to be here. We don't want you here. Yeah. If you've got a full-time job to go to and your parent or caregiver is in agreement with that, you can leave.
Wow. So did you find that you just, did you have a learning thing, or were you just not interested at all, or did you feel disruptive in class? What was the...
Oh, I was definitely disruptive in class, but that was a byproduct of not wanting to be there. Yeah. I really enjoyed primary school. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I went to a school with 300 kids. Yep. It suited how I operated. And when I got to high school, I went from a school with 300 kids to a school with 1,300 kids. Yeah. I was small, I was a little kid, and I'd come from everyone knowing who you were, and having that that comfort, I suppose, to this big school that you didn't know anyone, and not to say I got bullied, but I certainly wasn't a bully. And I just felt vulnerable. Yeah. Which was good for me, because I thought, in my brain, how I process that is, well, the way to be not be vulnerable is to be better than these people.
Yeah, yeah.
And the way to be better than them is to do things that they're interested in better than them.
Yeah, yeah.
And all young guys are interested in cars. Right? So, the working at Mag Turbo was the kind of thing that, even though you're at school and you're only sweeping the floors, but guys go, they know you work there and they think it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So you don't get grief. So that suited me. But I didn't like school at all.
Yeah.
And they were the reasons for it.
Yeah.
I just felt like I didn't fit in, and I just felt like I'd checked out. I could go to work and I knew in my brain I could do the jobs that guys were doing.
Yeah.
Where I worked, other than my strength that I may not have had because they were men, better than them.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get out of there. So that was that. So 24th of March, bang, I was gone. I finished there that day, and I started the next day full time at Mag Turbo.
Wow.
And I was 15, so 15 years old in one day. And then, shortly after that, I got my license, and that meant I could get a little scooter, little nifty 50 scooter, and so then I was away.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
And at Mag Turbo, you obviously are going through through certain parts of that job, and then what was your favourite part? Like, I know you like sales, so
yeah, I do. I think that my favourite part was I don't know. There's a lot of favourite parts to that business. It's my favourite part of it was watching it grow.
Yeah.
When I started there were six or seven staff.
Yeah.
And progressively I moved through from the fitting tyres and in the workshop.
Yep.
Into a sales role.
Yeah.
And I developed myself in that, and then I got the opportunity to become a sales manager, and then a manager, and then a managing director. So when we brought into the company, when I brought into the company, there were 6 shareholders.
Wow.
And at the finish, it was just myself and my business partner, Hayden. So there was 2 of us.
Yeah.
So and we went from 6 or 7 staff to 35 staff. So
wow.
A very different proposition, and we grew that business. That is the busiest wheel and tyre shop in Australasia.
Yeah.
It's the biggest footprint. It's got the latest of everything.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic business.
Yeah, being fortunate enough to run, some of the marketing for the Christchurch Mag Turbo, and then also obviously your business.
Yeah.
My new start. One of the things I've seen from and you obviously carried this through from Mag Turbo was your customer service. Mag Turbo's customer service. You ask anyone, we see the reviews coming in and stuff like that. The customer service levels are extremely high. Is that something that you and Hayden really focused in on and worked at? Because you don't grow from having 6 to 30 odd staff if you're not good at what you do. And you can definitely. So is that something you focused on there?
100%, because everything in business is a byproduct of the customer.
Yeah.
So you ain't got a customer.
Yeah.
You can have the best tyre machines you want.
Yeah.
If you've got no customers to fit the tyres for, well, they're irrelevant, aren't they?
Yeah.
So everything stems down from customer service, and that is rule number 1 in anything we do.
Yeah.
100%.
So did you have a plan for that, or did you just put someone in charge, or how did you measure your service?
Well, the plan for that is that I'm very fussy with customer service.
Yeah.
So if I wouldn't be happy, then it's not good enough. And the way to manage that is to manage it yourself.
Yeah. And did you lead the way with your team?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very much so. I mean, if customer service is, a customer should never ring you.
Yeah.
You should be ringing them to give them updates and feedback. If they're ringing you, you're not doing your job right. Simple as that, So just things like that. We would, and obviously we went from a small business to a medium-sized business, let's call it, but a medium-sized business that was operating at a fairly high level from an output point of view of what we delivered, in respect of how many wheels and tyres we would sell and fit.
Yeah.
So we went from 2 sales staff to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 6 or 7 sales staff. And we just never, ever, ever lost sight of the fact that the number one thing with those guys is they were never salesmen. Yeah. That's the thing. If you work for us in a sales division, you're not a salesman.
Yep.
Okay? Best way to be a salesman is to communicate with people how you'd want to be communicated with. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And so that's how it worked.
And did you find like the people that you employed got that? Did everyone get it, or were some people just not?
Well, I mean, hey, I can't remember over the years because we've had a few staff, but in that industry, the staff turnover is quite high. Yeah. And we had a very low level of staff turnover, and we would end up, I mean, this journey went over some. Makes me feel old, but it almost went over 18 to 20 years.
Yeah.
So we met a lot of people on the way, and we were able to bring people across to work for us who'd been in bigger corporate companies, who just simply, corporate companies lose sight of the small things.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. And we never did.
Yeah.
And that's why we were able to get some really, really good staff that we had and that are still with the company today because they liked how we operated.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I'm not there now is because I probably burnt myself out.
Yep.
Knowing what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
But that's how I was brought up.
Yeah.
That's how we grew the business to where it was.
Yeah.
Or where it is now.
Yeah.
Someone's got to make the decision. Someone's got to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And between myself and Hayden, we were those people. And I don't regret that in any fashion at all. And I was just fortunate enough that the time came that we had some really good staff that had been with us for a long time, who we were able to give the opportunity to purchase some of my shares. Hayden, you know, he's still had some time left in him with it, or some passion for it. I don't think I lost my passion for it. I just had enough, you know, which happens, and it's the best people identify that rather than staying there and being stale. You know, we've dealt with plenty of people over the years who are just, you know, we used to just call them grumpy old fools. You know, they're just like, mate, why are you still there working if you don't like it?
If you don't like it, do something else, right?
You know, recreate yourself and do something else, which is what I've subsequently done.
Yeah.
But I'm still very passionate about that industry.
Yeah.
That's...
Well, you know, you're in motorsport, right? You race competitively, and I've been lucky enough to come and see you at the track a couple of times. You're a madman.
Yep, that's the thing, and that's, you know, it all stems to that. You know, we like going car racing, and everyone's got a passion, and Hayden and myself's way to do that motorsport was through our business. You know, as a kid, I used to go to racing maybe once or twice a year, and that's all I wanted to do was go racing. That's it, you know. I didn't get too much of it when I was younger because that wasn't how my family was set up, you know. But I used to go at least once or twice a year, and I absolutely, that was my thing. So to be able to work at Mag Turbo, which was, even in those earlier days, was a brand that was associated with motorsport. You know, I'd seen the name around. I knew what it was about. So to be working there for me, that was the best job in the world.
So you're obviously very proud of that, right? You can tell still today, you know, you're very proud of the fact that you're working for Mag Turbo.
Correct.
I just want to look, if we look at that 20-year span, what was one of the most, what was the thing that you were proud of? What was something that you were really proud of that you helped in that business? Is there anything that stands out?
The thing that I'm proudest of is making something out of people that others thought had nothing in them.
Yeah, nice. You know? So you saw potential in other people, right? Yeah. And as a leader, you created other leaders inside that business and taught what you knew and what you've learnt to others. That's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, it is. And it comes down to having guys that, you know, their appearance may not be what other people deem appropriate, whether it be tattoos or whatever, you know, all these things. You know, I give people a chance, and if they muck it up, well, that's their own fault. Yeah. The game's over.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys just want a chance and want to be part of something. And when you're operating in a business such as Mag Turbo, where we don't book things in. It's not like, okay, Scott, come at 9 and get your tyres. And if you're 10 minutes late, we're not going to do it. Or if you get there at 10, we're not going to do it. We have customers who require servicing, and we will service them to the best of our ability. And that takes a special staff member, not the guy that's, hey, we've got Smoko at 10, so he's just out at 10. And there's times you can do that. There's times you can't. And so, you know, I take huge passion from the people that we brought through that, we obviously had some really key staff that were already in the industry that were, you know, without speaking out of turn, they're higher up the food chain in the business and things like that. But the guys that actually get the grunt work done, who put the tyres on and do those things, you know, they're pretty hardened. And I'd worked with them, and, you know, I'd been through it. I'd been hung up on the top of the hoist with broom handles, and I've been through all that, you know. So I don't mind giving that out either.
No.
But yeah, we brought some guys through who were very unassuming, and you would have never thought would have succeeded. And they were bloody good staff members, and they're still there to today. And if I see them around, you know, you catch up with them, have a beer with them. They're into racing. You know, often they go to racing and whatever it may be, and they're just good guys, and they've actually developed, and some of them have had children and families. And I genuinely feel like if they didn't come on board at the time when they did in their lives, they would have been on a different path. You know? And we we back then, and probably not so much now, but back then we used to work hard and play hard, and we used to have parties after work on a Friday and all the stuff that you do, which is good for those guys.
Yeah.
Because they've got a bit of animal in them.
Yeah,
so if you can say, well, we're going to do that, but we're back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Then you're catering to all parties.
Yeah. Hey, that's what a cool thing to be proud of, and obviously, some people in your life you have a season, a reason, and a lifetime, and you've made friends and business colleagues that are lifetime in that business, and obviously that's pretty special too. I think you made an interesting point about recreating yourself, because you left Mag Turbo, you've sold your shares out, and then now you come along and you're doing My New Start. Where was the thinking for that, the catalyst for that? And obviously you're bloody good at it. And most people I talk to around town, when I say your name to them, they go, oh, you deal with Kane. Oh yeah, no, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talked about. He's very detail oriented, but he has high customer service and he follows through, and is generally in a game that's full of probably some people that are not as trustworthy. Your name comes up at the top of the list as super trustworthy.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
So where did the I'm going to get into property now come from?
I've always been interested in property, and that comes from clients we've had at Mag Turbo.
Yep.
Who seem to have nicer cars and all the niceties. Always seem to be guys in property.
Yep.
Property had always interested me for those reasons, because if I could make more money, I'd be able to buy a faster race car. So that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
That's the motivation behind it. As you get older, different things motivate you, like family and so on and so forth. But back then, that was the motivation,
Yep.
So I was finishing at Mag Turbo, and I'd sat down with Hayden 2 years before I left, and made him aware that it was really time for me to move on. But I wanted to see us out building a new building that we were doing.
Yep.
And split my role up into, let's say, 4 roles and train all those people, and spend 2 years doing so. So I did that, and I had absolutely no plan for when I left. The plan was to spend the last 2 years dedicated to Hayden, the people that were buying my shares, and to the Mag Turbo business and brand. And then when I left, I'd decide what I was going to do. I wasn't going to spend the last 2 years deciding what I was going to do and wasting their time.
No.
So that's promptly what I did. And it would be 2 or 3 weeks before I finished at Mag Turbo, one of our customers came in, and I said, oh, hey, mate, I won't be here. Next time you come, I've sold my shares and da-da-da. He said, oh, what are you going to do? I said, well, I don't know. Nothing at the moment. I'm just going to have a break for a bit and just regroup.
Yeah.
And so he obviously went away and thought about that, and he gave me a call a week or 2 later and said, oh, I think we should have a catch-up on doing these earthquake damaged properties. I purchased earthquake damaged properties, and I fixed them and so on and so forth. He said, I think there's a real opportunity there and we could do something together. I said, oh, that's cool. Yep, no worries at all. So I finished at Mag Turbo, and I caught up with him the week after I finished at Mag Turbo on the Friday, caught up with him on the Monday, the Tuesday, and by the end of that week we were into it.
Wow.
Then My New Start was born, and it was born because of the reasons you've alluded to. Probably around some people that don't do things with the best, I don't know.
Intentions?
Yeah, probably the best intentions is the word we could use. And the service is terrible. Yeah. Absolutely terrible. And we come from an industry, we're in the tyre industry, there's more tyre shops per head of capita in Canterbury than there is in the rest of the country, right? Yeah. So it's either sink or swim.
Yeah.
So the only difference we had at Mag Turbo was our service. That was our difference. And that's what My New Start's difference is. Yeah. It's the service. It's going back to people when you say you're going to.
Yep.
And whether it's a right or wrong answer they want to hear, you've gone back to them.
Yeah.
So instantly when we started that business and started our advertising on the radio, because radio was the stream of advertising that had worked for us at Mag Turbo, and it still works for us well to today, the tap just turned on and the phone started ringing and we would all go, and then it was sort of learning on the fly a wee bit, because it was a completely different thing to me.
Yeah. You started this probably, was it 5 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah. So for listeners, obviously Christchurch had a massive earthquake 10 years ago. So this is probably, 6-7 years after
Correct.
that you get into this. So it's crazy to think that there was still a market for this, and there still is a market for this today, right?
Like there is. Yeah. So that's it. So our business is purchasing earthquake damaged homes that.
So very emotive.
Very much so.
Yeah.
That have got structural damage. The current homeowner has been paid to fix the said damage by their insurer and or EQC, which is our earthquake commission, the government controlled body. And we purchase it from them, and then we do the repairs ourselves.
Yeah.
So we facilitated that and do it all in-house, and effectively our margin comes from us being able to do the repairs in a more economical fashion than they're being paid out for. Still obviously up to the building code. So yeah, that's really where it all started. And the reason it's gone so strong again is because of the service. I mean, obviously it's a bit different when you're buying a $100 tyre to when you're selling a $700,000 house.
Yeah.
So price is a big thing as well.
Yep.
Which it should be with anything, and it is, and I still believe hand on heart that we're the most competitive purchaser around.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just can't get a deal together because it just doesn't. The numbers don't work. But we've done well, and we've brought over 300 of these properties in 5 years. And the first year of it, that was just a big beat up session for me, really, just learning how the market works, and it's good because you get comfortable in the tyre industry. We'd beaten plenty of people up and taken plenty of deals off people because we had the knowledge, and that's what happened to me in the first year. I don't begrudge that at all because it made me stronger for it.
So you got in there and started learning. New industry.
Yeah, and you learn from your mistakes. Why didn't I buy that? How did I miss out on that? Because I would obviously talk to someone about buying their house, and it doesn't just flow out of my brain. Notes are written, and then I would see the house get relisted for sale and think, well, we didn't buy it.
Yeah,
at least someone did.
That is one of the things I noticed when we first met. We had a marketing meeting, and I think I asked you near the end, what's that book you're writing in? So you wrote everything down. Every meeting you have, every phone call is written down, and so we live in a digital age. Mm-hmm. What was the thing behind that? You just wanted to know
Yeah, well, I think the thing behind that is that I'm not, as you know, overly good with computers and digital things, and I think that people that can do that is great, and a lot of people can. But I can find the information that you ask me as quickly as you can on your computer in my book. Yeah. Right. So use what you know. Use what you know works. Simple as that. Like, I don't need to be mucking around on a computer trying to find an answer for something when there's potentially a deal on or someone wants some information that I can give them. So I do have email, obviously. But agriculture is that.
Playing your strengths, eh? That's just. I just I thought it was awesome that you actually had that information, and any time you wanted to know some information, you had it all there. That was very impressive.
Correct, and we have that all obviously on Dropbox and clouds and things now as well. But I still have books that I run for different things that we're monitoring, or that I may be monitoring, that I just might decide at 5:15 one night, I just, where are we, how are we tracking with something? And I'll have it written down. I just go and look at it and shut the book and move on to something else. I don't need to be spending time trying to find what I'm looking for. I can go and then spend my unspent energy on something else in the business.
So how has that business evolved? Like you're now in doing other property stuff?
Yeah, I think it's just a natural progression when you're in that property industry that it evolves.
Yeah. Where do you see, if you look at the property market right now, like there's, or look at the marketplace, look at, high inflation here in New Zealand, global, around the world there's high inflation, interest rates are starting to move and be going up. Mm-hmm. Do you think the good times are over, or what's your take on the whole?
I think the good times always come back. It's just, I think, hey, at the moment there's a lot of benefiting factors around the world, isn't there? Yeah. And you've listed those off just then. I think that it's only bad if you've got to move now. Yeah. It's not even bad for some people that have got to move because from a property price point of view, last, let's say for round numbers, September to January, September 2021 to February 2022, were the highest prices have ever been on property on record. However, if you come backwards from that 6 months further, the property prices are still further up than they were anyway. So we're really just retreating back to what was the new normal. Yeah. And if we hadn't had that spike, people would be comfortable with what the new normal was, which is where we are now. So I think that the property price thing, it just needs some time to level itself out. There's a bit of disjointedness, if you want to call it that word, out there at the moment, with people that have bought and sold in different markets, and there's just a bit of a few grey areas there, I suppose, is well, not grey areas, but there's people who have moved in different parts of the market.
Yeah.
See some time for it all even itself out. Interest rates will hopefully inevitably come back to a more sustainable level. And we'll be back to normal. I don't know when that will be. Yeah. But I do think in the next 6 months or so, we'll have a bit of an even out and things will get a bit back to normal.
From my experience in dealing with a number of property investors over the years, it's the ones that have to sell that lose. Like if you don't have to sell, then you're not really, you're still That's holding, right? It's and as you say, you're holding at a higher level anyway, as far as some of the property values. So it's generally the ones that probably have geared too much that are going to be in trouble, or don't have cash flow to pay for that. So
and historically, it's always been an industry which has had ups and downs with guys come and go, and that's where some of that cowboy behaviour comes from, with not paying for things and all this sort of carry on. It comes down to getting hamstrung cash flow wise, which is usually a direct byproduct of the market going backwards. And the other thing is some people do need to buy and sell for whatever reason. It could be a marriage breakup or health issues in this current market. But what one must keep in mind is you are selling in this current market and then you are buying in this current market. Yeah. So it's really the same thing.
Hey, so let's switch gears a wee bit. If we've talked about marketing a little bit, but how important have you seen marketing to a business? You've basically been working since you were 10. You would have seen heaps of different marketing over the years. Have you seen marketing go really, really well for some businesses or some other businesses that are not doing marketing, and what's the effect on that?
Yeah, I mean, the business is nothing without marketing. We've had in Christchurch, obviously where we are, some really good marketers market their brand. Back in, I don't know, let's go back 10 years ago, the way to grow a brand was radio was really strong. That was the place to grow it, and having a road show at your business on a Saturday, having the radio station, there was sausages and so on and so forth. People that really got hold of that and grabbed that did very well out of it, and they built their brands out of that. That's how we built the Mag Turbo brand and other successful brands around Christchurch. Paul Kelly Motor Company. To name one who did it really, really well. Those brands were built off of that, and obviously springboarded, and there were other things that they worked very hard on, those business owners to do so. But that's what initially grew it. But to be able to make that work, you've got to believe in what you're branding, and you've got to believe in yourself, or else you just don't come across in the right fashion. And going back to the Paul Kelly brand, how he operates his business and operated it back in those days, we learned a lot from him. Because he's old school too. He's come from nothing and built that business up, and he built it on service. Which is how businesses should be built. And businesses that are built on service with no crap are the ones that succeed. And he would sell cars, and if you went back to get a warrant of fitness in 6 months' time or 1 year's time, or whatever rules were back then for a warrant of fitness, and you picked it up from his service department and said, "You've got your warrant of fitness, just letting you know that your brake pads needed to be replaced." Brake pads in a year? Oh, that's not ideal. Oh, but just so you know, we've replaced them and we've paid for them too, because you brought the car from us and they should have been done.
I've experienced that with Paul Kelly, their service, the Andy. I bought a few cars from them over the years, and one of the cars flooded. Audi A6, and I only had it a week, and it was full of water. They completely did everything, fixed everything. Picked it up, took it back to Christchurch, gave us a loan car. The service is amazing. So
who do you buy your next car from?
Well, exactly.
And who do you recommend? People seem to lose sight of the fact that money's hard to earn, and you want to protect the assets you've got. Now, if you can go and buy a $10,000 car from Jim Smith down the road, or you can go and buy a $10,000 car from Paul Kelly, whom will have sold someone a car, and there'll be a very, very low possibility that person's had a bad experience, because I've never really heard of them. That's where you spend your money.
Exactly.
And you want to know that he's a big man with a big brand, that he's going to look after you. They do, and he does. And that's what we did at Mag Turbo. That was the same thing. It was that we were never not accessible. If there was a problem happening, or someone had a failure with a tyre or whatever it may be, we knew about it. So That's getting off track from your marketing question, but that comes down to the marketing. You've got to believe in what you're doing and back it up.
That's the key that you mentioned, though. You've got to believe in what you're doing, right? Yep. And then, so if you believe in what you're doing, you're going to back it up, then you need a light of fire under it,
That's right.
So that's where you use your marketing. Because there's actually no point lighting a fire under something that's
right.
No good.
Well, you've got a story to tell, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you're going to buy a car, or if you're going to buy tyres,
yeah,
you need to buy them from us.
Yeah.
You need to buy them from us because we're going to do you the best deal.
Yeah.
But if you have a problem,
we're going to look after you.
Yeah. And that's the better thing than a better deal.
Yeah.
You know that for the lifetime you've got that tyre under your car, if you've got a problem, just go down and see the guys at Mag Turbo, the guys and girls at Mag Turbo, and we'll sort you out. So I feel like that's a story about telling. And I think that that's what drives successful marketing is the people behind it being passionate about what they're doing.
Yeah.
And actually saying their story.
Yeah.
And backing it up.
Yeah.
Because then people listen to it and go, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
We get it.
Yeah, we get it. And also, I talk to teams and their clients, consistency in message plus frequency of reach to create relevancy. So if you've got a good product, get a consistent message.
Yes.
And get it frequently in front of the right people that can and want to buy your product. Because one day someone's going to come along and go, hey, I need new tyres. Or, hey, and the funny, well, not the funny part, but, we've seen with your marketing, right, the evolution of what you've been doing. You've got deals just from your testimonials.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's consistent message. One of the things we always do is post out your testimonials because you've got heaps of them.
Yeah.
We make sure we get frequency of reach with the people. But then someone needs to do a deal. They read one of your testimonials. It's relevant to them at the time, right? They've watched all your other stuff. They've seen your videos. But then they see a testimonial of someone who they know. Rings the person up and goes, hey, do you know this guy? Yep. Yeah, Kane's a great guy. He did this, this, and this for us. Yep. Come to you. It's a done deal.
That's right. We have literally we're in the business of fixing and selling houses, but the first thing is to buy them.
Yeah.
So like I say to our guys, and I've said to you and your team, we don't buy houses, the rest's irrelevant. Yeah. We don't even need to discuss the rest because it ain't happening.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have brought a number of, I don't know the exact number, but I should, and I'll look it up now that I don't know it, a lot of properties off direct referrals or testimonials.
Yeah.
People just reading it and going, okay, well, I've got a house to sell. I just want to sell it.
Yeah.
And this is probably the guy to buy it.
Yeah.
So at that point, my job's easy.
Yeah.
I just need to turn up and just do my thing.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about testimonials, and this is why I talk to people all the time about it, get known by the success of your clients, right? Success of your customers. But testimonials, they speak to the conversation that's going on in someone else's head, right? So Mary looking at a house or looking at doing something, she's got a conversation running on in her head, right? She's thinking all these things that could go wrong.
Yes.
She reads a testimonial or testimonials on your page, and all of a sudden those problems that she's got, she starts to associate indirectly you or this brand with someone who can fix those.
Yeah.
So it's an underestimated way of marketing, especially if you do it in such a way. Hey, you show a video, the audience gets built, then you build the testimonials under that. It's a very good way of getting known, liked, and trusted very, very quickly.
Absolutely, and as you know from the years we've dealt, I'm very black and white. Now, testimonials on our website are exactly as the people write them.
Yeah,
and that's how they should be.
Yeah.
And when Mary that you refer to is reading those testimonials, she is nervous about things going wrong. And often in those testimonials, it explains things that did go wrong for those people, which we then righted those wrongs for those people.
Yeah.
So if you've already got those things in your mind and you are reading those testimonials, well, it's not guaranteed that we're going to buy that house. I mean, and we're talking about business here. We're here to buy the house. We're advertising to buy houses.
Yeah.
But it gives us a bloody good lift up in the door.
Yeah.
To have a good constructive conversation with the homeowner.
And once again, that comes from great customer service. Yeah. I like what you said here. Good businesses are built on customer service. So let's just talk about, because I think this is quite interesting, and you're not the first person that's experienced this when you come in and start dealing with us. What did you think of digital marketing when you first started?
Digital marketing, when we first started, digital marketing at Mag Turbo was something that was on my radar, big time. But I didn't have enough time to give it. I didn't have enough time in my day to give it the time it needed. Yep. And one of my reasons for exiting Mag Turbo was, amongst many, was the digital age moving forward.
Yep.
And just knowing that I didn't have the capacity left to be able to then springboard and grow the business again on the digital platform.
Yeah.
Had I have known about your company, then maybe that would be a different story.
Yeah.
I still would have left Mag Turbo, but I would have known more about digital marketing.
Yeah.
It's immensely important, and it's becoming more and more important by the day.
Yeah.
We all have access to phones. I mean, everyone's on phones and tablets. You know all that. I mean, even people who you don't think will be on them are on them.
Totally.
My dad is 75 or something like that, and he 2 years ago he was just very basic on a cell phone. Like it had buttons still.
Yeah.
Now he shows me his phone. I brought this up the other day on my phone, and now I can't find it. I don't know how I brought it up. I was like, were you on the internet? He's like, I don't know. He doesn't even know what it was, but he's watched a video of something.
Yeah.
So, if that video of something was something he was looking at buying, he'd go and buy it.
Totally.
Now, he could never tell them where he found it or what he's seen, but he's seen it.
I've seen it.
So, the people, it's growing more and more and more. The amount of people that are on those platforms are growing by the minute, I suspect.
Yeah.
And we need to be branding to them.
Yeah.
So, when I first came in here, I didn't know much about it. I know enough now to be dangerous, but that's what you guys do. So
what I loved about, and most of our clients, they get educated over time, right? Yeah. So we don't try and overwhelm too much, even though it does happen. But over time, we'll educate you with our meetings. And I think, what I like about, and this is what I talk to our new customers all the time, and maybe it's something that you could talk to. I generally find when when someone's good at business because they ask about the numbers.
Yeah.
You came in and you were asking about the numbers, and generally, we love that because we want to give you the numbers, right?
Yeah, of course.
Conversation yesterday, a new business, not a new business, they've been going for 5 years, but they've been running digital marketing, not knowing their numbers. Yeah. For me personally, I get quite frustrated by that. Why would you spend money on something if you don't really know your numbers? What's your thoughts on that? I know what you're going to say, but
my thoughts on it too. Firstly, is that this is the most vulnerable part of anyone's business. Okay, that they're putting in your hands.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. Because when you put all the information up on the screen and there's all these numbers that you guys work to, they need to trust that you're doing the right thing by them. Now, how can you do the right thing by them if they don't know what the right thing by them is?
Yeah.
So they need to be having that feedback and asking the questions that hold you accountable, right? You want to be held accountable, and you want to put the numbers up on the screen and feel proud, rather than them sitting here like stunned mullets, not actually knowing what they're looking at. What's the enjoyment in that for you and your staff?
No,
it's like, hey,
there's none.
Kane, you used to be 83% impression share.
Yeah.
Well, no, not. It used to be 40% impression share.
Yeah.
Now you're 97%.
Yeah.
And I go, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's not
What does that mean? It's like, hang on, that's freaking awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, that's my thoughts on it. I mean, if you're not asking about the numbers and that, I mean, you've probably got other things inside your business you're looking at too.
Yeah. Well, this is something, we're seeing more and more and more, and this is one of the reasons I want to do these podcasts, because I know a lot of our clients know their numbers, right? They know they're very strategic, they think about their business, but they know what it costs to get a client. They know what they're prepared to pay to get a client.
Yes.
Some of those basic numbers, and so how enjoyable have you found it, like coming in, being fairly green? But one of the things I love about you is you're curious and you always ask good questions, and that's something. But how have you found, learning digital marketing from where you were?
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. We've sort of applied it in one of the more aggressive industries, as yourself and the team have identified. Yeah. The possibilities that digital marketing has for a business are never ending. Yeah. I often think about other businesses you could apply this into. Totally. And just have such a good result. Yeah. It really truly still to today amazes me at the reach that is out there. Yeah. And still how untapped some of those markets are. Correct. That was the next thing I was about to say, and how untapped they are. And it is the old radio of 10, 15 years ago, which was, I don't know, let's say car dealers. Yeah. There's 200 of them in Christchurch. Yeah. Well, you would have known two on the radio. Totally. Two owned it. Yeah. And grew their brands off it. It's the same in the digital world. There's a huge amount of potential there. And a lot of people, I think, dip their toes around the edges. Yeah. And I think, like anything, if you're going to dip your toes around the edges, you've got to really stand back yourself and go, well, is this actually beneficial, or am I best just to not to do this? Because you're you're half-hearted, you know, and anything you do half-hearted, you're not doing your best, are you?
I had exactly that conversation with these people yesterday. I said, look, you know, from everything I've seen, everything you've told me, are you interested or committed? Yeah. And they kind of looked at me and I was like, well, look, you guys talk like you give stuff a go for 90 days. I said, we're not the 90-day company. You've been with the 90-day company. You know, they guarantee the 90 days, blah, blah, blah. It hasn't worked. I said, we're not the 90-day company. We're 12 months minimum, okay? And if you can't have enough bandwidth to last 12 months, then I would not spend any more money on marketing. I would go into that customer database that you've got and I would start ringing the 1,000 that you have.
It would make sense, wouldn't it?
It would make more sense than spending money on marketing. But if you want to grow a brand and you want to grow this business and you want more people and this is where you want to get to, if you're truly committed to that vision, then you got to give yourself 12 months. And I'll tell you what, the first 90 days are going to suck.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have to learn your business. You're going to have to learn what we're doing. We're going to have to educate you on numbers. And in 90 days, we might as well get to that 90-day period now. Unspec expectations right now.
Yeah, I can tell you now.
In 90 days, you're going to be frustrated.
That's right.
You know? But in the 4th month, magic's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
But they've already checked out.
They've already...
I like what you said. Are you interested or committed? That's a really... Yeah, that's really, really good. I like that, yeah.
But it's so true, right? Because I've seen it over the years now. I've seen it so many times. And that's, you know, for me, one of the things I love talking to business owners about, and this will just go into this because it's about mindset, right? Yep. You got to have a different mindset.
Yep.
You know, those two guys, I think they'll go away and think about it because they obviously want to get to a certain level, but how committed are they? So your mindset, you know, starting at 10, like, how did you evolve that over the years? What was obviously your dad, you had a work ethic, right? And all that goes on. But like, were you reading books? Were you looking at information? Or was it by osmosis, being around certain people?
Yeah. Certainly by osmosis, was it?
Osmosis, I think it's called.
I mean,
I failed English at school.
Smart people learn from smart people.
Yeah.
Or smart people watch smart people, or smart people listen to smart people.
Yeah.
I wasn't born smart.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I wanted to be successful. Yeah. And I watched people that were, and I learnt from them from a very young age, you know, from a very young age of being, 8 or 9, there's people and I know their names right now that I watched and I watched how they condoned themselves and how they operated, which I still continue to watch as I got older. Yeah. And certain things they did became more relevant to me. Yeah. As I got older.
So their actions versus their words, or both? Yeah.
Their actions and their words, around business. I mean, business is I don't know if people think business is some little small thing, right? Business is made up of thousands of pieces
I believe it's the ultimate personal development game.
Correct.
You know?
So, how you condone yourself in these circumstances and watching these people and how they held themselves, really. That's how I learned. Yeah. And by identifying people that I didn't want to be like. Yeah. And people that I wanted to be like.
And did you identify that at an early age? Or was that, really? Yeah, wow.
I did. I learned that from two people. I learned that from a gentleman whose name's Tony Cardwell, who's a very successful man in the automotive industry, owned lots of petrol stations and service stations. He's now owns a massive race car parts supply shop. Wow. Very, very successful businessman, very successful race car driver, very determined, very, very focused. Yeah. So when you talk about mindset, very focused on what he's doing. Nice. If you talk to him at work, he's at work. Yeah. At the racetrack, he'd be at racing, and so on and so forth in different aspects of his life. So that is the person I learnt the most from. Yeah. And he's and I know because I'd hear things and I'd watch things. He was a family friend of ours. Around people paying bills. He said, good business owners pay bills. Yep. Bad ones don't. Yeah. Nice. Full stop. And that's a full stop after that. Yeah. Right?
So your action from then, you pay bills.
100%. I pay my bills. Yep. And when people don't pay me my bill, that's a problem. Yeah. Because that's my money. Yeah, yeah. Not theirs. Yeah. So I learned that very, very early. Yeah. And that's how I operate right till today. Yeah. And in our business now, we have tradespeople who just work for us. Yeah. They don't want to work for anyone else. Yeah. Because
you pay their bills.
They send the bill, we pay it. Yeah. We don't yell and scream at them. We've got
Second
a good
time in 2
relationship.
days I've heard that. Like, from another very successful business owner paying the bills and how, back in the day he would get a fax, he'd fax it to the company and they would pay, within, and until that day, today, 30 years, something later, he's still doing.
Yeah, they'd fax the statement. Yeah. That's how we used to get a fax statement and then you just post them a check. Yeah. I mean, and it's just so true. If you look inside your business that you've got now, I remember inside Mag Turbo, Archibald's, Bruce Miles, Paul Kelly, Angus Cockram. Yep. Those people, I would never have ever spoken to them about their bills. No. They spend more with us than anyone. Yeah. And they just pay on the 20th. Yeah. Non-negotiable. Now that happens because they're reinvesting in their business. Yeah. So it goes back to when you're saying about people wanting to, are you here because you're interested or you're committed? Yeah. Well, we wanted all these things when we were at startup business. I want a nice car. I want this, I want that. We invested everything in our business. Yeah. We didn't take dividends for many, many, many years. Yeah, yeah. Because that's what we knew. Yeah. We got a wage and we were happy. Yeah. Down the track, when you've invested in your business and done the right things, then you're obviously welcome to a dividend. Well, maybe people's mindsets are a little bit different now and they need to be taking that out to have the nice boat and the nice car. And that's all nice and that's why we work. But if you work hard and properly and do it in the right order, you'll have a good business, you'll pay your bills, people will want to deal with you, and you will have the niceties as well.
So good, yeah. And look, a lot of people don't. I've seen this time and time again. A lot of people don't really want to wait today. No. The younger entrepreneur, they don't want to wait. They want to be seen in the nice car. They want to be seen in all this sort of stuff. But having that ability to wait and do the right things in the right order is a key, right?
Yes.
But you have to have a good mindset for that. You have to, like.
Well, you got to be very focused on it. I mean, you've got to be doing what you're doing. Yeah. And it is mindset driven. It's like any sports person. It's like whatever you're doing, it's very simple. What you put out is what you'll get back. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
I think also, good business owners hang around other good business owners, and they like being around other business owners. And I think that's some of the things I really enjoy, the mindset of other business owners, because business to some degree is a wee bit lonely. Have you found that over the years?
Correct, it can be, yeah. It can be. And when we were at Mag Turbo, when I was at Mag Turbo, we didn't meet with people or talk to people or do those things. Obviously, clearly it wasn't detrimental to what we're doing, but it could have been better. You could always be better. But we were very focused on that, working massive hours there. There was no time for family life. I mean, that's not... We were fortunate that then I'm 36 now. Yeah. I did that work at that level from when I was, let's say, 15 till 30. Yeah.
Yeah, now you have a family and it's different,
Now
right?
I have a family and I still work many more hours than most people would work, but not like I did back then. Yeah. Because I don't have as many staff now, you've got 30 staff, so you've got a lot of outside influences controlling where your time needs to be spent. And sometimes you get to the end of the day and go, right, I do now need to sit down for 3 hours without any interruptions, and I need to do a stock take, or I need to do these things. Like, it's discipline. Yeah. Like, if you're doing a stock take on your product once a month, guess what? You do it once a month.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like, you need to be on top of these things, because if you're a bit tired and you're not feeling like you want to do it, well, I'll tell you what, next month, when you didn't do it for the last 2 months, you'll be real tired when you're trying to reconcile it or work it out. Yeah. And then that's just one aspect of it. Yeah. So I think mindset in that respect of being very focused on it, and that's what needs to happen.
And just being prepared to do it. Like a lot of you can burn up energy thinking about stuff, right? But if you have to do it, you have to do it.
Yeah, big time.
And I've got a good mate who's a really good entrepreneur and a very successful business owner. He always talks about, hey, do what's the hard now so you can have it easier later. And I like for me now, right at this moment in the where we are in the world economy and everything, I'm not watching any TV. Yep. I watch a little bit of Netflix, but that's it. But Monday through to Thursday, there's no TV. Get home, family time, but then I'll start working again. Yeah. Because I want to prepare for what we're going into, or at least be a lot more sharper than we have been in the past, right? That's right. So, yeah. How's family life changed your view on things? Like, you've obviously got a wee boy now and a beautiful wife and stuff.
It's changed. It's certainly having a son or a child has changed my views on what the world will hold for him down the track, and ensuring that my affairs are tidy and in order for the event that something happens to me. You know, I've seen many people cut corners in business and in life who are successful but haven't got a will in place or haven't got their affairs in order. And I've been on the receiving end of having to try and help pick up the pieces. For some friends who unfortunately are not here anymore, and it's messy. And it shouldn't be. I work on the theory that I've made this mess, so I'll dictate how it's cleaned up. You know, so
great thinking.
Some very clear rules in place around that, and that brings me comfort that if something was to happen to me, at least the right people are in place to assist that. And obviously, you have a different outlook on the world too when you have a family. You know, the world's an interesting place. There's a lot of interesting characters out there that the world's not as safe as it was when I was growing up, which again makes me feel old. But it's simply not. You know, there's a lot of whatever drugs and people are influenced under different things, and they're very, very, very unpredictable.
And
it's
crazy.
dangerous. It's concerning that you're going to have your children out there dealing with that, and you know, you've just got to school them up to be sharp, be street smart.
Street smart, prepare them for scenarios or just, you know, thinking, and making sure they keep their head high as well. You know, it's definitely is a different world that we live in.
They've got to be exposed to that stuff. You know, you can't you
can't hide
that's
them
how it is. You've got to understand that that's how it is, and they need to be able to identify certain things that they need to know what's happening around them. You know.
Totally. Just to finish, I want to talk a wee bit about car racing because I was fortunate enough to take my son along to see you at Ruapuna there. And we got sprayed with mud. I think my son was
no problem
terrified and never wanted to go back. You know, like you talked about cars and you talked about, you know, getting into business and wanting nice cars. Tell us about the latest car that you got. I know you're pretty excited. You and Hayden have had a couple of chats with him about it. Tell us about the latest car you've got and what your plans are for it.
So the latest car we have, so we do various forms of motorsport. Speedway racing on a dirt track is what I've done for quite some time, and I still continue to do. But we have also been involved in the endurance racing, so long distance endurance racing from the age of I did my first long distance endurance race at Timaru when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
I didn't even have a car license. I had to get a dispensation about driving in a Series 1 RX-7. So
classic.
So Hayden and I have been racing cars from the start. We've raced cars that have reflected our budget, and we've enjoyed it. We've met some great people, and we've grown our business from doing that. You know, there's no doubt about that. We've met some very
perfect
successful
scenario.
and well-known people from inside that industry, from inside motor racing. So anyhow, the last we've raced up until say 5 years ago, and our most recent cars then were Porsche GT3 Cup cars, which are really, really good cars. But life just got in the way. Business was busy. Hayden had a young daughter. I've had a son. I've moved on to my other business. And to be able to even remotely get the best out of yourself in those circumstances, you need to be concentrating. And we just haven't been able to give it the time. So anyhow, we're probably in a position now where we can do so. So we've brought a new race car, which is a Mercedes AMG GT3 car, which is the latest spec, one of the latest spec GT3 spec cars in the world. And we're going to race that this year in the endurance racing.
Nice.
And the thing for me for the racing is that number one, we want to be fast, obviously, and we are fast. So we're very good drivers. We're not professional drivers, but we're usually a long way further up the road than other amateur drivers that are racing. And it is just like a job. We went out last Friday and tested the car for the first time, and we had engineering staff there running the car and monitoring various things. And it's you know, we're there to be serious about it and concentrate on it like we do with our businesses, and you really do get the results. You know? So we look forward to it.
That is awesome. So you I can't wait to watch because I've heard that you drive pretty fast. And that you don't mind getting a bit of a niggle, you know, like
No, well, that's just part of it, isn't it? It's the same. That's the same as business. I mean, you know, if it was all smooth sailing, it'd be easy. But We do enjoy it. No, I enjoyed the challenge, and it's completely separate from work, but it is very, very similar to work in the respect. And like I said earlier on, it's a bit cliche, but what you put in is what you get out, and it is the same with the racing. If you concentrate and you really, put yourself forward in the best fashion you can, you will get a result. And a result for us is identifying the fastest you can drive the race car. So the fastest you can possibly drive that race car, and then your job is to drive the race car that fast for an hour and a half.
Nice.
Because it's a 3 hour long race,
That's
you
cool.
do an hour and a half each, and that's where the real mental challenge is actually getting yourself driving the car right on the very edge of your ability, and then saying, right, in qualifying, okay, so now we're going into the race, and now you're going to drive the car like that for an hour and a half. And that's
and being in tune with yourself, right?
Correct.
That's awesome.
It is. Yeah, it's very good.
Mate, looking forward to it. Hey, Kane, this has been awesome. Really appreciate your time. If someone wants to get a hold of you, maybe to talk about property and stuff like that, what's the best way to?
Just via our website, mynewstart.co.nz.
Yep, nice.
Just all the contact details are on there. So send an email or give me a call. Or
Awesome.
No problem.
Hey man, appreciate your time. And look, I can't wait to see you guys racing around the track. I know, I know you guys are going to send it and take on the Carter boys.
That'll be we will be. Yes, we will be.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for your time, man. Cheers.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Hi, Scolson here again. Hey, thanks for listening to the Marketing for Business podcast. Hey, we're on a mission to share these episodes with more business people, so please feel free to share the podcast. Head over to our website, www.getdigitalinfluence.com for more episodes, and we really appreciate you listening. Thanks for your time and have a great day.